Hello, hello. So, a short update. There is in our custom state machine definitions some data where the data includes the unique name of a state machine, the current state or maybe states, and some data. And data is basically here an object, but it will be persisted to the database. And this one is maybe, or probably for now, optional. And represents maybe an array of messages or basically like a feed, so the history of all messages from which that data field can be restored, because when states receive messages, they work on or they have access to that data, and receiving messages can cause certain state transitions which send events, and those events can include some payload data, and also the events they receive includes payload data, and that payload can include some data. But in order to send custom messages, we in XState have a bunch of actions that are called send or spawn, and those are little functions that create custom messages. And also in XState, they have functions that get a context, which is the data known to a state machine, and the current message, which they call event. And then they can customize a certain message. Now we need that, but we don't need those functions. We want everything written in strings. So how would we write it so that a string is not just like a string content, but can actually reference certain data? And in order to do that, I think what we're gonna try is to use JSON pointers and JSON relative pointers. Here's like a little JSON object, and here is the JSON pointer that can be used on this object to get out certain data, and here is another object, and the JSON pointers to get it out. Those are absolute pointers, those are relative ones. And it seems that this is a cool standard that we will try to use, and we'll see how far that gets us. And then hopefully, finally, we can start producing our messages from the state machine and processing our messages inside the state machines and make it compatible with our communication logic where we're sending data, because in the end, we're still trying to use our state machines, and we're getting data, and we're putting the data that we receive from messages into the state machine, and we listen to the state machine to get messages out. And that message standard needs to include that kind of stuff that I just talked about. So let's see how far I get tomorrow. That's it for now, and see you hopefully tomorrow.